10. The question I get very often is, must I use CPAP forever? These questions are usually coming to me when somebody is coming into my office for a CPAP setup for the first time, and at the end, they ask questions. Must I use CPAP forever? Everybody wants to know, is this going to be a quick fix? Is it something that I'm going to use for 30, 90 days, 1 year, 3 years? The answer to the question is every once in a while, someone does get off of CPAP, sometimes by losing weight. There are other factors that can help someone get off CPAP. There are alternatives to CPAP, but for the most part, CPAP is something that you will need to utilize going forward. So the next question, number 9, what is sleep apnea? Sleep apnea is really pretty simple. It's more of a mechanical situation. First, apnea. Apnea means not breathing. And then sleep apnea is when you're not breathing, when you're sleeping. Actually, what's happening is you fall into the deepest stage of sleep, and then something in your airway is actually collapsing when you relax in that deepest stage of sleep. So therefore, you're not breathing. It's mechanical. It's closing off. CPAP is something that actually will help to open that airway up. It also is a mechanical situation. Number 8, what is CPAP? CPAP stands for continuous positive airway pressure. So it's really nothing more than some airway pressure, or think of it as like an internal air splint that is just keeping that airway open as you're breathing and sleeping through the night. You can relax, and the great part of it is you can get into that deep, deep sleep. Everything relaxes, but it doesn't close off. So CPAP is a wonderful solution for sleep apnea. The 10 best questions, number 7, how long until I can sleep well and feel better with CPAP? Now that is person to person. There are some people who jump on CPAP and right off the bat, everything is wonderful. Everything is beautiful. Others have a little more of a struggle. There are some who literally never get used to CPAP. Now I'm a firm believer in that for those who end up giving up on CPAP, that probably it's just a question that they could have had answered, something they could have done a little differently, change of pressure, change of mask, change of mindset. So I really believe everyone could be successful on CPAP. As a matter of fact, there are some studies that show that CPAP works 100% of the time if you can get acclimated and if you can use it. But to answer the question, it's a broad range, but I would say for the most part, it takes between 2 weeks and 1 month. Between 2 weeks and 1 month for one to really get acclimated and used to this whole new idea of putting that mask or the nasal pillows on and sleeping with that through the night. All right, moving on. Number 6, which CPAP machine is best? And you guys know when I say CPAP, I really mean CPAP or APAP, which is an auto positive airway pressure machine. Which CPAP is best? So this is a very loaded question. I do believe you do get what you pay for in life. It's no different whenever we're talking about CPAP machines. There is a brand that had a huge recall here recently. I'm no longer a fan of that particular brand, Philips Respironics. I'm a much bigger fan of ResMed. I also do like 3B. They make a Luna machine. However, I will say in general, whichever CPAP machine you can afford, that's the CPAP machine for you. So whatever is in your financial budget, go with that machine, because ultimately the algorithms, the displays, et cetera, all the different little bells and whistles that come with CPAP machines, some are plus in this area and minus in this area and plus in this area and minus in this area. Overall, you're really going to just need that internal air pressure split, and all of the CPAP machines can do that for you. So don't labor a terrible amount on exactly what brand to get. If you can get the ResMed, go with the ResMed. ResVent, the iBreeze, is a really good machine, and the Luna is also a really good machine, in my opinion. All right, moving on to number 5. Which CPAP mask should I use? CPAP masks come in basically a few different categories. One is the nasal pillows, which are just the two little nasal pillows that go to your nose. There's another one that's a triangle that goes only over your nose. And then there is a full face mask that actually goes over your mouth and your nose. Then finally, there's a hybrid that it goes over your mouth and then it has the nasal pillows at the top. So just research, and I would suggest try uh, any of the masks that you think might work. However, if you like to read at night, then you're going to want something that will still be open to your eyes. So you can put those glasses on if you're like me and you wear glasses. And if you sleep on your side, consider that. If you do a lot of tossing and turning through the night, consider that. A CPAP hose holder is really wonderful as well. And if you guys are just now joining us, I see a lot of people just now coming on here. If you would type into comments hashtag FAQ, and we're going to automatically enter you into a drawing we're going to do here in just a few minutes. Someone is going to win a gift card to our website, AffinityHM.com. All right, so we're on number 5 already of the 10 best CPAP questions. Number 4. Will my prescribed pressure ever need to change? The answer to that is probably it will. Now there's APAP, which would allow one to set the pressure at a very wide range, like all the way from a low pressure of 4 to a high pressure of 20. And some of you out there, that's what you have been prescribed. So if that is your actual setting, your pressure's probably never going to change because you already have the full range of pressures. But as I've mentioned in some of these live videos and other videos in the past, I'm a big proponent of talking to the doctor, look at the reports, find out what pressure, if you're on a wide range, what pressure does it run at 95% of the time? That's in your data. It's called the 95th percentile pressure, or P95, it may say. Find out what that pressure is, and you don't necessarily have to hit that pressure and just use that one pressure, but bring it from 4 to 20. Let's say your 95, your P95 pressure is 12. Instead of 4 to 20, why not make it 10 to 14 if your P95 is 12? Does that make sense? Please let me know in comments. Is this making sense what I'm saying? Reduce the range of the pressure to a lower extent so that, and here's why you would want to do that, so that the machine is not making too many changes through the night while you're trying to sleep. Sometimes these pressure changes actually can wake you up. So it's better to get it narrowed down. Some people actually believe that CPAP, one single pressure, is actually better than APAP. So that is still out for discussion as well. All right, we're on number 3. What should my AHI be when using CPAP? AHI is your apnea hypopnea index. It's one of the key points in your data, one of the most important points too, because it lets us know how many times per hour that your breathing stops. And remember, in a video we talked about previously, apnea and hypopnea are kind of the same thing. And it's important to just know that you want to keep that number below 5. Below 5, it should always be when you're using the CPAP. If it's below 5, it's well treated. If your number is over 15, for example, though, that's severe sleep apnea. So some people, actually, excuse me, 30. So some people actually can have a high number even when using CPAP. This would be due to having a lot of leaks or a lot of air pressure problems or bad prescription. So definitely make sure that number is under 5. Question number 2 out of the 10 best CPAP questions. What is an acceptable mask leak number? When you read up on this, you're going to hear numbers like either 20 liters per minute or 24 liters per minute. I really like to see that even lower than that, probably 10, 12, 15 in that range. Now, there's going to be some leakage that's going to happen, but keep that number low for sure, below 24 or 20. But if it's, below 10, then you're going to even be happier, sleeping better. There's 2 big problems that leaks cause. Actually, many problems, but the 2 biggest ones are, one, when there's a leak, it's going to dry you out because you're now with the leak, increasing the flow. And remember, pressure is a different thing from flow. Pressure is in a closed system, and that pressure is the pressure you need to keep that airway open. But if there's a leak, then the machine has to drive more, and it increases the flow, which dries you out. All right. So also there's the noise. And then finally, if the leak is bad enough, the worst thing that can happen, and we hope doesn't happen, is that the machine is unable to really achieve the pressure that we need, and you could begin to have actual apneas due to the lower pressure, due to the leakage. And obviously that's not good. So leaks are the number one thing. We've got to deal with leaks. All right. And so the last and final question before we do the giveaway is, where can I learn more about CPAP? And this is probably the biggest thing that I would say that people need. If you're having a problem with CPAP, I highly recommend, please go to our website, AffinityHM.com. Check out this right here. It's CPAP Academy for Beginners. It's literally me in videos, and I have some questions and tests and quizzes. But in the videos, I go all the way from the very, very beginning, explaining what sleep apnea is, different types of CPAP machines, different types of masks. We go into great detail. And within about probably 2 hours total of all of the videos, you can know everything you need to know to be successful with CPAP. So if you are struggling with CPAP, I highly encourage you to go and check this video course out. It's actually not very expensive, and our website even allows for payment plans. So there's so many options, and I really highly encourage, and I hope that you will go check out CPAP Academy for Beginners. All right. And I'll see you guys over there. So now let's see. Has everyone typed into comments hashtag FAQ? We are about to give away a gift card to AffinityHM.com. In the meantime, let's see. I want to check and see, before we do the giveaway, I want to check and see who we have here. This is my new mother, Georgette. Hello. Welcome, Georgette. My beautiful wife is here. Okay, there's more here than just my family. Thank you for being here, hon. Robert Shapiro is here. I see he's entered into the contest. All right, Freedom. Freedom is a regular person. Thank you, Freedom, for being here. What would cause me to wake up in the night for no reason with mask on and not having to use the restroom and in deep sleep? Well, I mean, in human sleep cycle, you actually go into different stages of sleep. There is N and there's REM sleep. N means non-REM. So there's N1, and that's the first stage of sleep when you're just sort of barely asleep. There's N2, that's a deeper sleep. And then there's N3 and there's REM sleep. Now N3, which is non-REM, and REM sleep are the two stages of sleep that are really considered deep. But Freedom, what is interesting is that as we sleep through the night, we're going to go through all of those stages of sleep and then come back up to the one again. So we'll go 1, 2, 3 REM, 1, 2, 3 REM. And so as we're cycling, we'll do that 4 or 5 times through the night. And as we're cycling, then sometimes people just wake up all the way instead of going to N1. So it's hard to know exactly what that might be. If you don't think it's leaks, it could be other things. But nevertheless, it's fairly normal to kind of wake up. But I would recommend simply, if you don't need to go to the restroom, just try to go back to sleep again. Possibly even hit that ramp button, the little triangle on top of the machine. That'll give you a little relief from the pressure. I see Belty Cat is here, my good buddy. I call him BC. Okay, we have a question here from Kevin McNabb. Good evening, Chris. Was wondering if you could help me. I use the Evora mask and the ResMed 10. What size hose should I have the machine set to slimline or standard? All right. Well, the mask is not going to determine the hose size. So you're going to have to actually look at the hose itself. And if you still have the packaging that the hose came in, it's going to tell you, is it a 19 millimeter hose or something different? Standard, when you're setting your settings, standard hose is the 19 millimeter one. So if you have something smaller than that, punch in slimline, and that should take care of it. I see we have Kenneth Myers here entering into the contest, and Snag Creek. That's cool. All right. And so I've got a question here from Robert Shapiro. I wake up and the mouth is extremely dry despite the fact that I still have water remaining in the tank. Is a mask leak issue most likely the culprit? Great question. Okay, Robert, there check your data first. Check your data and find out what your leaks are on the next morning to see if it's something over about 20, then I would say probably mask leak. If it's not that, it could actually be two other things. It could be you're using a climate line and it's not working properly. Or it could be that you're not using a climate line and you just need to increase the humidity setting. So these machines are set 1 to 5. Other machines are 1 to 6. I think some of them even go higher than that. So look at the range. When you're using a standard hose, you will have the ability to set that heated humidity wherever you want. And I always recommend to people to start out kind of in the middle. And if you're getting a lot of water and rain out, then lower that temperature setting. If you're really dry in the morning, increase it, but only increase it by 1 notch each night until you find that sweet spot. One other thing, it's almost fall. You guys, September 1st today. So fall is coming, temperatures are going to change. So that is going to also affect where you need to set that temperature if you're using a standard hose. But if you have a climate line, all of that is supposed to take place on its own. All right, so we got a question here from Snag Creek, which I like that. That's a cool sound. Would a large mask leak cause your apnea numbers to increase? Absolutely. Yeah, a large mask leak over 24 is very possible that the machine is unable to keep that pressure where it should be, and you could be having apneas due to not having enough pressure ultimately. So fixing the mask leaks are absolutely crucial. Robert Shapiro, welcome again, Robert. Thank you very much for your expertise. Well, thank you. I appreciate you guys being here. I love CPAP. I love you guys. If y'all wonder why do I do this, I want to tell you the reason that I do this is because it's a little selfish in a way, because I really, really love it when I can share a little piece of information that literally can change someone's life. And I hear from them a message, and it happens, a message or something, say thank you, and this has really helped me, because sleep is so important to not just sleep, but all throughout our entire physical bodies and our relationships, etc. I mean, it goes on and on and on forever and ever. All right, so it looks like we're getting a little spam here. Let me see what I can do about that. All right, so let's see. So Freedom is talking about Oscar. Yeah, Oscar is a wonderful program that you can connect to. I believe that it's a free download, and you can take your SD card, download it into this software called Oscar, and take a look at a lot of data that's really, really super helpful for many, many people. I love Oscar. It's helped me a lot to tighten up my minimum and maximum pressures as first at 5 to 12. Now I'm at 6 minutes to 10 max, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, well, I don't recommend using Oscar or anything else to change the pressure on your own. I think it's always better to really talk and work with your doctor on those pressures, because sometimes there are issues and factors beyond our knowledge, and so it's really good to get an expert involved in that with